question, I can share an anecdote which I have never spoken about actually in public. And I know everyone has social media and stuff, but it's too far gone to, I think, make a difference. So I think it was 2012, and we were already public. We were public in 2010, and 70% of our business came from flights, domestic flights. And I think we probably tried to be a little cute in pricing, etc., at that point of time, which we shouldn't have been. And two of the leading airlines of the country colluded is a strong word, but worked together and they cut us off for 1 week, one airline, and 2 weeks, the other airline. And we were away on an offsite rafting. And it was just the worst time possible. And obviously, you did everything to get it back, but it took us 2 weeks to get one of the airlines back. It took us 1 week and all kinds of mediation, all kinds of help. Massive lesson learned. Massive lesson, which is the pricing is the supplier. In our business, we're an agent. The pricing is the supplier's prerogative. They determine the price. We're a distribution platform. Our job is to be the cheapest, most convenient, most efficient channel for distribution for our supplier, be it an airline, be it a hotel, be it a bus company, be it the railways. If we are that, we'll do well. The moment we forget that we can, or we try to think we can do more than that, that's when we are in trouble. So it was a slap on the face. I think we learned from that. We took a big hit. If you were to go back on our graph and you see what happened to our stock price, that quarter was a bad hit. Came back, learned two things. One, never be too cute. Never be too big for your boots. The second thing is diversify the portfolio. Since the last 5 years now, 4 years, 4.5 years, more than 50% of our revenues come from hotels and packages, which is a much, I think, safer industry and a more lucrative industry to be in because it's very fragmented. Hotels in India, only 20% of the hotels are some kind of chain hotels. The rest are independents. Packages are completely fragmented. Airlines are very concentrated. Domestic air, as we learned, there are 4 players. I don't even think there's a fifth player or 3.5 players or whatever you want to say. It's that concentrated. So leverage will always be with the airline. In railways, there's one player. So IRCTC decides what we're going to make, if at all. For the longest time, we were making nothing on it, but we want to sell rail tickets because that's what the customer wants and then hope to sell them something else. So fragmented marketplace for distribution is very important. So we learned two hard lessons. Sometimes you need a knock to do that. And again, I think the airline will learn from it too.
Okay, I'm really hoping that, and this doesn't become an advantage for Air India to actually, take on a lot, or the government does something where, because I still also completely agree that Indigo is one of the most efficiently run organizations which execute incredible numbers and still has pulled off for years what others couldn't do. It shouldn't become somebody else's advantage because the government forces it onto them. But I cannot move to the next question without asking you about this very juicy open letter that came out about Indigo. The open letter which had some great insights into Indigo as an organization and all the things wrong, and some very juicy gossip about some people who also were given some titles. How much of that letter is correct?
I give no heed to that, honestly. I mean, I'm not saying it because of the public forum or whatever. I just don't give. I think people love to take pot shots at large companies, figures, God forbid, tomorrow, anyone has. I just think it's human nature. So I don't. I know people who work in it from the inside. Very dear friends are at senior levels. It's a great place to work. So again, I just think this is a culmination of maybe too many, like just pushing it too far. Sometimes in the pursuit of being just this machine, this can happen. Amazon's that kind of company. Now, maybe we don't know what has happened, though I've read everything about Amazon. But, it'll take Jeff Bezos to tell us someday that maybe they tried too hard with something, etc. Maybe with a supplier, they tried to be too, or with the legislators. But I don't give any credence to any of that stuff. At least that's not. And no, I'm not saying it because, whatever, like I just need to be nice. No, I just don't. I don't believe. It's very easy to say today, how come none of this came out till a week ago? If all of this was, there was something wrong. It's an aspirational company. People, like, I can tell you, within aviation, they want to work there.
They all want to
They
work.
want to work
I
there.
hear very similar
Yeah.
things. In fact,
Yeah.
I also have a lot of people I know right at the top,
Yeah.
and they are all fantastic. But I
Yeah.
really think they
Yeah.
missed the bus on this one, or
Yeah.
missed the flight on this one,
Fair
like a lot of people did. Um, you've really pushed, and this is a question that I feel very strongly about. You've really pushed that you as an individual and Make My Trip as a company is very gung and very, very positive about AI and everything else, and mobile first and AI. But isn't AI going forward, especially agentic AI, a near extinction uh, problem for you? Because you just described yourself as, at the end of the day, you're the agent, right? In between, you don't have an airline and you're not your own customer. You need customers to buy. And agentic AI, for those that are not very familiar with it, I'm going to give you a very quick example. We are moving towards AI where you don't have to really do too much. Each of us will have personal customized AI, which are agents. Right now, you do something on, let's say, ChatGPT, and it gives you an answer. Want to take a trip out to Australia? I have only 3 days. What do I do there? It'll give you the answers. But what if they were also able to execute for you? I want to go to Australia, buy me the ticket, book the hotel for me, set up the car that will pick me up. And all of it is done for you. You don't do anything in between. So if I was to take that example, because I've seen fantastic example, and every single time the top example that someone gives me is always to do with travel, like I just gave you. Now, if I have a custom agent AI that can buy the ticket for me, that can book the hotel for me, can get me my taxi, my pickup from the airport, a travel guide, and do it all directly with the airline, the hotel, the taxi company, the pickup company, why do I need Make My Trip after 2 years?
Yeah, it's a fantastic question. It's something I ask my leadership team all the time. And I'll tell you three reasons. So I fundamentally believe that the AI moment is the internet moment plus the smartphone moment plus the mobile app moment all together. So I do believe the impact is humongous. I mean, so it's a game changer. It could make us or break us. And I'm telling you the way I tell the team, it's no different. I said this could completely devastate us or take us to another level altogether. So we're embracing it for this reason, but we're also embracing it because we don't have a choice. So we're firm believers of you have to disrupt yourself before someone will come and disrupt you. So right now we're taking this, and I'll tell you the maybe three reasons, Rajiv, why I think OTAs and smart OTAs, online travel agents like Make My Trip, will win the game and should win the game. I'm not saying everyone will, because I have a lot of respect for youngsters like you sitting in a dorm room somewhere, hacking away and building something. I have a lot of respect because as part of my new, I'm non-executive at Make My Trip. I'm the chairman, but now I'm non-executive. I spend at least a quarter, if not a third of my time meeting with young entrepreneurs and just trying to be helpful and mentoring, etc., etc. And so, and every, I think 1 in 10 meetings, I'm blown away. And these are youngsters here, not necessarily from the IITs, but just their deep thought and the amount they've already, you know, already solved for a problem today in a very unique manner. I don't think even I can think like that because they're fundamentally thinking again AI first, different Gen Z first. It's a very different approach. Three reasons why I think smart OTAs can win. First is the humongous amount of customer data that we have. Okay, a new company, that's our moat. We have a humongous, till now we have served over 90 million customers. And we know each one of them. We have the data of that. We put that together. So if you come to us, Bhaskar comes to us, Rajiv comes to us, Rekha comes to us, we know exactly what you've done with us differently. And we can, by virtue of that, give a far more meaningful, contextual, relevant solution to you rather than, throw the entire kitchen sink at you, which is what a brand new AI agent will do. They don't know you till they start learning, and that's a moat. So the moat is there till a certain time, and you have to keep deepening your moat and keep deepening your moat. Secondly, I think there's a lot to be said about domain and context again. So an AI at the end of the day was coded by someone who didn't know much about the domain. When you say, find me a cab, I'm landing in Narita Airport and I want to go to Haneda Airport, and I can tell you the two airports in Tokyo are very far apart. And, if you have to do that, and Japanese Metro Connect is phenomenal, except when it comes to airports for some weird reason. And I asked a lot of people that. I didn't ask Chat GPT, I should ask maybe Claude that. And so it's an hour and 10 minutes if you need to do that. And it's expensive, or you go by bus. There are a lot of good buses, but hour and a half. Now, when you want to do that, they don't know the difference between one cab company to another. They're all the same. So there'll be 40 cab companies saying, I can do this transfer. And each one of them will be saying, I can do it at $110, $109. Someone will say $90. You'll get it at 90, or you don't know who's who. We have the context of every supplier. When we think supplier, we, for a minute, don't think airline or big chain hotel. So that's our trap very often. People like us will say, oh, yeah, of course, I know what the Taj stands for. I know what the Marriott stands for. In fact, I know every level of Marriott and I know every level of Taj, because that's, I typically stay in these hotels. Think of a budget traveler saying, I want a place in North Goa for 2,500 rupees. These names mean nothing first time to Goa. Or similarly, first time to Manali. 3,000 rupee budget, a lot of our young leaders want to go out there. That is typical India, typical Bharat, typical world. People are looking for budget breaks. That is where context really, really helps. And I don't think that domain or experience will lie today with a new agentic flow. I'm a big believer. We have our own agentic AI models, and each of them are talking to each other, which is probably the fourth point. So the third point is the interconnectivity with each of them. So tomorrow I'm booked to go to Ahmedabad, to my alma mater, and I have not asked for a cab from I chair IIM Ahmedabad's endowment fund, and I told them not to organize a cab because I wanted to test our own airport cab, whatever feature and all. And I didn't tell anyone at work either because I really want to test it. So let's see what happens. Hopefully this doesn't go back to my head of cabs before I reach in the morning. And it was booked obviously on Indigo a week ago. And then after I changed my other flights and all, I did change it to Air India to be safer, and got something around the same time, quickly went online and I changed all of this stuff. Now, and then I have a hotel booking, which is at the hotel, which is run on campus, whatever, by Green Park. So I have just, all of it is connected. So you will need someone who will connect all your flows, because typically trips are not about only a hotel or only a flight. It's much more than that. And if I would say the fourth and probably the most important thing for a while, it's that intangible thing called trust and brand. When it comes to travel, I think it's the third most important and critical area where we rely on trust. The first one is medical care. So medical care is obviously, like always, like this hospital, this doctor, we trust because it's so critical. The second one is financial products, insurance slash that area. And the third one is travel. There's a huge, again, think about new travelers, naive travelers. They will get an e-ticket sent to them. They'll have a boarding pass, but they will call up someone, the airline they'll try to get through, to validate that till they've done 4 or 5 flights and this works. Similarly with hotels, they call up hotels to say, "Meri confirmation hai, mera reservation hai." So this is brand and trust that you build, I think, over decades. We are 25 years, and I think the biggest thing that we have earned in the 25 years is brand trust. So that being said, none of this is a guarantee that we will not be under threat. And I'm still a believer in Andy Grove and Only the Paranoid Survive. It was probably one of the best management books I read eons ago. If you haven't read it, still relevant. Intel founder. And yeah, we are constantly on our toes. I mean, we are now, I think, 75 to 80% of our resources are, of our tech resources, which are more than 1,000, are on AI. And then AI is writing code for us, and AI is doing QC for us. But I think when it comes to customer and the customer handling, even today on customer service with us, everything can happen through automation AI, except when it's a last minute thing. You have a crisis, you have something else, we open a human line very quickly. During the last week, we were flat out. I mean, you were saying, did we help cause the problem? I'm like saying, Indigo, you caused a lot of problems for us, because we were flat out, because we booked 1 in 3 tickets in the country today. And, it was all falling on us because a lot of else was kind of falling apart. So, yeah.
Just test this theory of trust in a brand, because I think that is a very, very important one. So I'm going to give you a description, and remember, you have to vote for one of the two. It can't be that you don't raise your hand at all for anything. So you either choose option one or option two. So the two things that Deep said is, yes, I said agentic AI, which I described to you. So I'm just going to give you that one example. You have an agent that is built into your smartphone. It knows more or less everything about you, because that is how it will learn about you. The kind of flights you take, the kind of seat you like, the kind of things you do when you reach an airport and everything else. If you had an agent built into your smartphone, and all you had to tell that, even by a spoken command, is, I have to take a flight, urgent flight to Bombay tomorrow, 9 a.m. And all the rest of it, that agent in your phone does. It contacts all the airlines one by one, direct to the airline. It gets you the best price, the best flight that will get you there on time to the right airport, is option one. Would you rather go for that? Or would you rather still go for Make My Trip, because that's what you've done in the last 5 to 10 years? So let's go with option one. All those that would be happy with the agent in your phone making it happen. Yes. Do remember, he just said the right thing. Who's coding AI? Humans. So there, the human error will creep into that. But just to satisfy me, so that
Let's do the poll, and
let's do the poll,
I'll
because
come back to you, sir.
we'll
I
come
think
back to
there's a
that
very
part
good
of
point
it.
you raised.
So I think for the first one we got, I would say, just about half. Would you say half? Maybe everyone who raised their hand raised their hand again. No, 49%. I was wrong. Right?
Thank you, Rajiv. That's reassuring.
So just so that we see the rest. So you'd still say, I would rather go to Make My Trip. Raise your hand. Listen, it's not that he's offering discount coupons today that you guys are doing
I
this.
think it's more like 60-40, dude. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad that this is happening, because
No, but we have to keep delivering. I mean, it's as simple as that. Every transaction, we have to just make sure that people are. See, the booking has to be really so seamless, so easy, so convenient that you don't even remember it. Because the real reason you travel on leisure is to have fun, is to have a vacation. That is what you have to focus on. We all know it's cumbersome. The more complicated the holiday, the more exotic the place, it is cumbersome. And that is what has to become much easier. When you're traveling on work, very often you give it up to someone. We have a business travel solution called MyBiz, which is doing a lot of this stuff. Again, you don't want to spend your time really thinking about, most of the time people are saying, if it's leisure, it's cost. And of course, the times I can travel and its budget is what the big one. And what we want to do is the first thing. What is the vibe, as they say very often in AI? So, we want a beach vibe, we want a mountain vibe, or this is two of us going, we want a romantic getaway, or this is a family get. A lot of travel today is celebratory travel, milestone birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, all of that. So that's the vibe. And that is what you should focus on, not how to get there, what to do. But the moment things will go wrong, you'll say, oh my God. Otherwise, it's all same. So it's one of those things, you only think about it hard enough when something goes wrong. So our job is to make sure nothing goes wrong and that everything is smooth. And we will keep, I think, winning trust. But again, we are going to build the best agents. We already have Myra, which is out there, which has been there for a while now and is entirely home built. It's our chatbot and AI, and it's our assistant, which does everything for you in English, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, and Bengali already, but going to every language. There are challenges in Indian vernacular languages right now spoken. We are trying to solve for them. And the whole idea is not just to be cool and say we have these, it's to be inclusive. You'll be shocked at what percentage of Indians are comfortable to read, very comfortable to read and speak English. Any guesses? of the total population. 15 to 20. That's it. The trouble is we only meet people like us. So we say, yeah, India. But the real India is and there's money today. So there's no question that there's no money. You have to again go on one Indigo flight international to see who's traveling. It's a very different profile today. There is money and people are much more comfortable in their own languages. And that's the conversational flows that we are building, backed up with our experience and our domain of what all you can book and travel. So we want to do the best of both. By the way, I'm a big believer on AI. That's what I said. This is going to change everything.
Heard you say that.
Yeah, and you and I spoke at an AI conference. I'm backing a couple of AI funds. So we want to marry the best of both. We don't think it's a Puritan solution again, which can, I love Gemini 3. I think it's fantastic. But there's a reason why Google has never become an OTA. They want to be in the business of organizing the world's data or whatever else. I think it's the same reason where AI will struggle on the booking side, on the changes side, on the cancellation side, and the magic word called refund side, where I don't think anyone can do it except an OTA who's willing to work very hard, spend a lot of money on that. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Please go ahead. In case we have people with mics, it would really, really help because I do want questions to come right in the middle. I don't have a post session.
It's not on, sir. Just say it again, please.
Just tap it. No.
You want to use this?
Working now. In the travel business, at times things go wrong, things are uncertain, and sitting on the remote corner, we need a human help.
Correct.
Whereas in AI, it will always say for this service you press 1, for that service you press 2, press 3, and then repeat, it goes on. And the problem which I have, it is not coded in that AI. So at least in those services, there should be some code which say for human help you press this. Some of those portals have, many of them do not have. And if they have, my good luck. If they do not have, then...
So you have to first listen to the 5 offers and coupons.
Yeah.
Then 1 to press 2 to जो 9 number होता है वो होता है फिर for human intervention. They want you on the call for a few minutes. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'm sure there's a...
Absolutely right, sir. There's no question. The human line has to be an option, especially for very genuine. If you want to just look at your itinerary, you want to make changes, if it can be done, it's fine. But if it's a last minute thing, so we have a separate number if you bought from us, and during your trip, there's a separate number to reach out to.
कई जगह सर नहीं होता है तो जैसे for repeat service you press 0 or something तो कोई सर्कल पड़ा रहता है आदमी and then you have taken so much time to get disconnected.
The reason I can tell you is 40,000 rupees a seat with a call center. But you are right. You are right.
Lady in the back, we'll take a question from you, but I'm going to carry on, then come back again. Take a question from you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. So, very curious to know what happened back then. So, when you look back, especially to the COVID era at Make My Trip, what is that one leadership behavior that you had to unlearn real quick to help the organization navigate that chaos? Thank you.
Thank you for asking that. I think COVID for us was the biggest learning. So, travel, as you all know, came to a complete halt. I reported a quarter. I was CEO then. I reported a quarter. We were 96% down on revenues. One investor asked, and this is reporting to the street, earnings call quarterly. One investor asked where 4% business came from. And those were emergency stays that were happening. Hotels became, literally wards, etc. So our biggest challenge at that point of time was not that we will cease to exist. So I don't think it was an existentialism crisis because we had a couple of 100 million already on our balance sheet. So unlike early days of Make My Trip where we didn't know if we'll survive more than a month or two, here the challenge really was our best people in tech, in product, in online marketing, and even finance, HR, everything were all very fungible skills, which meant they could move anywhere. And they were, because travel was getting hit. But at the same time, if you remember the days, food delivery was our savior, right? Everyone just said, chalo, we can keep ordering. Amazon was our savior. We were getting whatever. We were sitting at home and we were bored, so we were ordering more. Netflix was our savior. Various things were happening, Zoom, etc. So guys were now moving to these places. So my biggest challenge at that time was to retain and keep people motivated. And with techies, there's one thing. A good techie doesn't only stay for money. People think they're very mercenary. No, they actually, money is important, but they stay if they are learning and doing good work. So any techies in the house, anyone who codes? Yeah. So if they are learning, they are happy. 6 months of working on something and they realize the world is changing, all the forums on Reddit, everything else, the talk is something else, and we're not getting that. If they don't get an opportunity to work on AI and earlier on mobile, they'll leave. So you have to pick up what people. So we were not only going to lose them, we might not have got them back. So the challenge was to find a way to retain. And it took us a while, it took us a quarter. And me and my co founder Rajesh said, okay, all hands on the deck. We are going to attack with a mission, total mission mode, all the projects which were on our pipeline, which were, never even seeing the light of day because there was always a fire. Any good business, there's always some fire burning. Let's do all those projects on mission mode through Zoom, through whatever else. And we did that. We managed to retain 80% of our tech folks. Of course, some left, some came back. When COVID lifted finally, we actually managed to, I think, almost four new lines of business. Ad tech was built entirely during COVID. A new version of MyBiz was built there. We built My Forex was a company we had bought. We built a new platform for them. There's a lot of work which happened just during COVID, which we are getting the benefits of today. And that's why I say never waste a good crisis, right? There's really a lot you can do in crisis mode because the weak player is just looking to survive or is panicking. And you have to understand nothing will last forever. If COVID was to last forever, then anyway, we were all dead. So not just make my trip, everything was over, but nothing's going to last forever. So you have to almost abstract yourself out, say, okay, this will get okay, but what will we be looking like when this goes down? And I think Warren Buffett famously said, when the tide goes out, you get to know who's swimming without clothes on. So yeah, it was a great time. And so main thing was retain, motivate, which I think are the biggest job for any CEO, any founder. Attract talent, motivate talent, therefore retain talent. That's all the game is. And the motivation is everyone has different hot buttons. So what buttons to press? Not everyone is driven again by fame or money, by pats on the back. People have very different ways of working. So I think you have to understand that and then you get the best out of people. So it's the easiest thing to do. But I think we get caught up with other challenges, but we're straying into something else. So.
Okay, I'm just going to test that again, that theory. Are you a true techie or not? Have you ever jumped a job because someone paid you twice the money? Because no one ever offered you twice the money, or did you not jump the job? Both. Okay. Then I can't test that theory at all, right? Okay. So now I'm going to move into quick fire questions because I have so much to talk about and we've got literally about 15 minutes left. So for AI, which you really feel that it's the next big thing. If AI right now, with no loss of anything that you feel is going to change the way your company operates, if AI could replace exactly 50% of the people that work for you, would you do it? Would you fire the 50% humans?
I won't fire them. We just stop hiring. I mean, and there's a natural attrition that happens. 25 years, and I can tell you my lowest time was, again, during COVID. We used to run about 20 travel stores in different cities. Obviously, travel stores were shut. They were for holidays and passport, visa work, all that kind of stuff. My toughest decision was to ask almost 10% of our people to leave. We tried to get most of them back when things got better. We took care of them depending on how long they had served. I personally took care of them, whatever, tried to help them with jobs. I had sleepless nights. I don't think I slept well for at least, 2-3 weeks because it's the worst thing you can do. If you've hired someone and no fault of theirs, you have to ask them to go. I wouldn't.
But if AI can replace 50% of them,
I'll grow the business 50%. Why would I fire anyone?
Do your investors know that you wouldn't take that decision?
Yeah, I'm the chairman now. Yeah, I'm not the CEO. Ask Rajesh that. I'm very clear. It's all about people. In the long run, it all
If
works out.
Rajesh was to say, I need to do this right now, then
Rajesh is co-founder and CEO because he's also human. Don't ask my CFO. That's the problem. That's the
okay.
problem.
Okay, let me ask you, because I think this is a lot to do with young leaders. Let me ask you a question which I think to a lot of young leaders becomes the dream. So you made Rajesh the CEO fairly early to a lot of people in your span of being at
22
MMT.
years.
Yeah, which no, but you're not 80, right, or 70, right? So
I was 52, 53 when
which
53, yeah.
to most people would be very early, right? So tell people, because to most people it's the startup dream is 40 45 tak IPO karke main to retire kar jaunga, right? So is that a good way to look at how you build a business, and why did you do it? Because while you're executive chairman, you're not doing daily decisions. You're just
non-exec now.
you're more strategist than anything else, right?
I'm non-exec.
How do you take the decision, and how do you know it's the right decision at the right time?
Yeah, so firstly, it's a very personal thing. I whenever I meet young founders who are looking at IPO versus sale, I always tell them one thing, which is if you're going to IPO, please remember it's the beginning of a new journey. You'll take some chips off the table at IPO, that's fine. But it's the beginning of a new journey with public scrutiny. It's very, very different. We IPO'd in 2010. I was 40, and you know, at 50 I started harboring dreams of doing something else, and I can talk about that. There's no this thing. And finally, I was able to do it only at 53 because COVID happened. And I just thought one life, multiple careers. I'd got more than I'd ever, bargained for, expected, etc. I just wanted to do other things, which were all in the mentoring, not-for-profit space, the kind, wherever I'm kind of spending time. And I felt that time is running out. I don't know why it was 50. In my own switch, it was that. In my own mind, some switch went off. But I could have the gall, the liberty to even think like that because I had a co-founder who I had complete confidence in. He had joined me as CFO, became CEO, became CEO. And I said, I know I can rely 100%. People who don't have that, supposing I didn't have someone like that, no question, you can't even dream. Then you have to think about hiring talent from outside, which is damn hard in startups. It's a cultural thing. We have hired in the past top quality talent, gold medalists, IITs, IIMs, fantastic people. I mean, really awesome people. Gelling was the issue. We are still friends. We had we spent 4 years together. He was COO. And then we parted very nicely because we realized he couldn't be CEO. There was cultural thing. I think it's also an online thing. For youngsters, you won't get this, but anyone over the age of 45, 50 will get this. You either immersed yourself in tech in your 30s, 20s ideally, but 30s. Like probably Rajiv and I both did, right? In our 20s, we just said, yeah, listen, this thing is crazy. Let's learn it. You're not a techie, right? You're not an engineer. Neither am I. And both of us just got into it. Immerse yourself in that. I don't think it's something you pick up after 40. Maybe it's like swimming. Like I've tried the hardest to try to get two people to learn to swim. But after the age of 40, my dad and Rajesh, my co-founder, and I failed on both because डर है इधर कि करना ही नहीं है. And so it's like the same. It's almost the analogy is the same. Cycling, swimming, learn these damn early in life, maybe skiing, which I couldn't learn because I tried after 40. And I said, I'm going to fall and I'm going to break my legs. And my daughter was in her 20s and she was on the second day on the top of the slope. And because there's no fear. A, she's 1 foot shorter than me. But B, there was just no fear that, I'm not going to fall. If I fall, what will happen? My, rubbery bones, etc. So I think you have to be very clear on what you really want. I met a friend of mine, one batch junior to me from IIMA Ahmedabad at this wedding. He came from London. He heads a top fintech company. Can't give the name. Massive moment in his life going, should I go here? Should I go here? We sat down for half an hour and we were just talking about this. And at the end of it, I just said, what do you want to do? And later, I just kept asking him that question. I said, what do you want to do? You've reached enough success. You're, 55. And he went back to the wedding. We met his wife, and his wife said, you know what I keep telling him without knowing what? She said, what do you want? And that's wise always know, what do you want to do? At the end of the day, be true to yourself. If you want to exit, there's nothing wrong. I mean, hats off to people who've sold companies and set up multiple companies. K. Ganesh, 7 companies in India. Serial entrepreneur in India is very hard. I think it takes 5 years even to know if you will build something viable and 10 years to build a good company. But guys have done it. In the Valley, you can do it every 3, 4 years. You can build a good company, sell it off. It's a painful process here. Be true to yourself. If you're in it for the long haul, which I was very clear when we IPO'd, I said, just want to build a brand forever. And so it made decisions easy because I didn't harbor hopes of saying, listen, I want to build another company. But some people love that. So I think it's personal. And for me, the answer became very easy when I asked myself, what do I really like doing? Similarly, at 50, it became very easy where I was saying, I'm finding this, despite AI, more of the same. Uh, and something inside was telling me, and I used an executive coach, and she actually told me, she said, a thought has come in your mind, Hindu mythology. The moment the thought comes in your mind, you're already half pregnant. So you have that in your head. That means it's bothering you. It's in your mind. Accept it, embrace it, plan for it then. And that's how everything fell into place. So I keep it very simple. Yeah.
Very interesting. I think the process that he's followed, I think, is excellent. Speaking of processes, you've also spoken about the fact that you almost sold Make My Trip fairly early in your journey. I want to understand this because this is a great learning for everybody. You almost sold it. Why did you reach that stage? Who pushed you to sell? What made you not sell?
Yeah, why we reached it is very simple. 2000 Dream Start got $2 million from our fund called eVentures. 2001 .com happened here. 9/11 happened. Our entire business was US India at that time because India wasn't buying online. We were reduced to nothing. Half my team quit. I didn't draw a salary for 18 months. All the other guys took cuts who stayed back. So we were in this tiny mezzanine in Okhla phase 1 at 11 rupees a square foot. I think, ordinary cloth is more expensive than that. It was really, really the cheapest place. There was a Dharam Kanta under where we are. If you're from Delhi, you know what a Dharam Kanta is. If you don't know, then that's the place trucks get loaded. So it was a really industrial, horrible area. This is not the nice Okhla. This is the industrial Okhla in a by lane. And we struggled for 4 years just to stay alive. Got some angel funding after 2 years, got a little bit more angel funding. Then times changed. In 2004, just before we got institutional funding from SAFE, I think there was fatigue. If you're not drawing a salary, you might have some savings. You have a wife who's quit working because you have kids along, and you have 2 little kids. I think it can get to you every day. Like you're supposed to bring home the bread, but there is no bread. So no matter how understanding the wife is, after a certain time, and I think we were all feeling it was really tough because you're on fumes. And we got an interesting offer. It was a company called Zuji, which was half Travelocity and half Abacus. So it was a blue chip company of that time, doesn't exist today, in Southeast Asia. And they had made an offer of about $5-6 million to buy out the company. It was management held entirely. So I think I held maybe 60 or 70% of the company. Rest of the team held the rest. Maybe there were some angels. So it was, it was a fair amount of money way back then in 2004. And we said their CEO came in and we had a meeting close to our Achini office at that time. We'd moved to Achini next to Turquoise Cottage. The meeting was in Waves. It was about a kilometer down. It's still there, this restaurant. And for some reason, I went alone into it, not with my 2 other senior colleagues, Keyur and Sachin, who were both co-founders then. And I said, guys, if they come up to 10, we'll take it. Is that good with both of you? Because they both stood to make $1 million each or whatever at that time. And they said, yeah, done. It was with a heavy heart. Went for that meeting. It was a lunch meeting. And these guys went up to, I think, 7.5. I could tell they'd go to 8. And they said, that's what we can do. And the rest of the terms were nicer now, 2-year now. Everything else was good. But they said, that's what we can do. And it's weird how the gut, they say gut feeling because 25% of the neurons in your brain are in your gut. It's a true fact. The vagus nerve. So your gut is telling you when you feel queasy or you feel something's going on, you say, I have a gut instinct. And my gut, I suddenly felt, I couldn't eat because obviously I've suddenly felt almost relaxed, but disappointed, but relaxed. And I ran back the entire way. I just ran back. It was maybe half a K or 1K. And I ran back and I told these guys, so what's happened? They said no. And all of us smiled. It was funny because we actually didn't want to do it, but we were almost, I think, forced to. So sometimes you need some luck because I just know one thing. I would be the probably the most miserable person on the planet if I had done that and I'd seen very average companies, become largest OTAs, etc. in the country. So sometimes you need some luck. And, again, I would have sold it just like the Flipkart guys would have sold for 5 or 10 million, something. I heard that story from Sachin once.
No, you would be
So
one of the most miserable for sure if
I
you
would
sold
be
for
miserable.
$7.5 million
I would have been miserable.
versus where you are right now.
Yeah.
Most miserable, in fact. So I've been handed a note which says I have to, shut this down right away. Hopefully, Deep will be available for the next 5-7 minutes to have a one-on-one with any of you. I'm going to do a this or that with him just to understand his travel. He makes all of us travel. How does he travel? Let's find that out. And one destination in India. Sorry, I'm going to take 2 more minutes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because they're standing right there, and I'm like, okay, I'm making them very, very nervous. So I am going to take 2 more minutes. So, and one destination in India that is a complete undiscovered gem, because I know you and your wife travel to the most incredible of places. Every name I've never heard of, right? And one abroad that is a completely undiscovered gem. Okay. So I'm starting off with when you travel, aisle or window on the aircraft?
Aisle for me, it's always aisle.
Always aisle. Okay.
Always aisle.
Early morning flight or red eye?
Red eye.
Red eye. Okay. Hotel breakfast or the cafe down the street?
Neither. Get up, order 2 bananas. Most hotels won't charge you for that. Have your coffee and you're done.
Say tip to travel also. Free ka breakfast. Don't take that Make My Trip where they say with the hotel, just for this much more you will get breakfast free. He just told you why never take that
That's
option.
because I like to catch up with sleep when I'm on holiday. That's why. Only reason.
Plan every hour of the trip or wander aimlessly on Discover?
No, we like to wing it. So here's the difference. I travel with my kids, especially my daughter. She is completely anal about Rex and where to eat and what to do. And you have kids around the same age, and everything has to be like we were in Tokyo together, and I want to eat omakase. I want to do this. I want to do this. When it's just me and my wife, it's like we'll anchor in 2 big things for the day, and the rest of the time you can wing it. Like, I mean, enjoy it, soak it in, really, really enjoy the place. Yeah.
3 big bags checked in or 3 t-shirts, and I'll survive with the 3 t-shirts.
Try never to check in. I've done a week of roadshow in the US without check-in bags. But the spoiler is the wife's always checking in. So it really doesn't matter if you do one. But travel as light as possible.
Yeah.
I do laundry. It really bothers my wife, but I don't care. I'll do laundry. Yeah.
Okay. And of course, one undiscovered gem destination in India. One abroad.
Yeah, guys, go to Lakshadweep. It's open. There's very basic places to stay right now. I've been already. I mean, if it's people think Andamans and Lakshadweep are similar, they're not. Havelock is a paradise. You've probably been to it already. It's a paradise. Radhanagar beach number 5 is one of the best beaches in the world. But Lakshadweep is more like Maldives, and Andamans is like Phuket. Those are the seas. The Andaman Sea is the same sea for Thailand. And Lakshadweep is just like the Maldives. It is surreal. So you've got to get there, either Bangaram or Gati. I think Bangaram probably. There are a couple of modest places to stay today, but worth going before everyone is going. And if you haven't been to Ladakh, for me, that's my personal favorite. I mean, beyond again, for me, Nubra and Pangong So are still beautiful. I know we're not doing a good job of keeping them clean, but go northeast. There's so much in India. Just discovered Khajuraho so late in life. I'm kicking myself. Unbelievable. And Sarnath. I discovered it last year. I hadn't been. Now I can't wait to go to Bodh Gaya. So India has so much. I just think we should. There's lots to see. And overseas, Maldives is my favorite. Go back to different places. But there's a place called Galapagos Islands. If you can get to go there, it's where, I don't know if you guys, Darwin's theory of evolution, the Darwin Swift, he found it there. So these islands are untouched. You can't live there. You can only visit it. You are not even allowed to urinate on those islands or pee on those islands. You can go for a few hours till you can hold it and come back to your main boat. The kind of wildlife there, I mean, it's not threatening wildlife because they've just grown. They've been like that forever. So no one's ever polluted them, corrupted them. Nothing has been touched. So iguanas of Christmas colors, one live on land, one live in water. It's a surreal place. And it belongs to Ecuador, so it's a little far to reach. But if any of you are backpackers, get to South America and go there. It's pretty exotic. Closer home, La Reunion, not too far from Mauritius and Seychelles. Not too far. People just don't. It's a little hard to get to, but not expensive. You can get there. So lots of places.
All right, and the absolute there's no one there, so I'll just pull this one in. And the absolute last question: what is the weirdest place someone has come up to you and recognized you and said, "Sir, वो मेरा refund नहीं आया."
होता है काफी होता है. So I really miss. I stopped traveling with wearing Make My Trip t-shirts. I only traveled like that. वो थोड़ा सा bothersome होता है, but I love striking up a conversation of who's next to me for a good 20-30 minutes, understanding travel habits, this thing. And then, if I have something to read, I'll just say, I won't be rude, but I'll say, but I love talking to strangers. I think you do too, probably. And our wives absolutely hate that about both of us. But it's nice because you can learn so much about customer psyche on a plane or on a train or wherever. Yeah.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Deep Kalra.
Thank you so much.
Most candid best. Thank you so much, Deep. That was absolutely wonderful.
And thank you again for doing it on your birthday. Really, really amazing. Amazing.
Thank you to both our speakers for a very enlightening session. May I now request Mr. Santosh Kumar to present mementos to the speakers. A very happy birthday once again to Mr. Rajiv Makhni from all of us. A big thank you once again. Next YLC Summit, we hopefully have a Make My Trip specific coupon that we could all use for our travel. But thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, sir, once again. A very happy birthday from all of us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to an exciting and unconventional session, Leading Success Leadership Lessons from the African Wild. The poll question for this session is adaptability the most important leadership trait in unpredictable environments? Be quick to answer from your badges, QR code on your badges. Whether you agree, disagree, can't say. Is adaptability the most important leadership trait in unpredictable environments? Agree, disagree, can't say. You can also see that on the screens. We invite all of you to share your opinion on this, and this is the last poll question for the day, obviously. I would now like to invite Mr. Rajiv Makhni on the stage to introduce our special speaker, Mr. Ian Shubak, CEO Red Leaf. Right, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just going to give 2 minutes to everybody with Deep because he is distributing the coupons. So any of you that are not with him, that coupon is not. See, I on my birthday have not got my birthday coupon as yet. And Deep, it's my 19th birthday. I really deserve that coupon. Okay, done. Just put it in the elevator, press down here. Okay, to all of you that are still out here, my absolute privilege to introduce the next speaker, and it's not just a normal session. Prepare yourself for something very unusual, something very interesting, and which is why I said it's my absolute privilege to introduce this next session. So this is one that promises to shift perspectives, sharpen instincts, and transport all of us far beyond the walls of this auditorium. It's an opportunity to explore leadership in its most elemental form, tested in extreme environments, forged in uncertainty, and illuminated by lessons from the natural world. We're very privileged to welcome Ian Schubach, the CEO of Red Leaf, an organization that uses the power of adventure to build high-performance cultures. Now, look, I'm just reading off what I was given, but I'm going to give you my own emotion. To be able to take what nature and wilderness and the wild and everything that we know as elemental forces, be able to draw from that leadership lessons isn't really something which is a stretch. It actually is the most natural thing you can do, which is exactly what he's going to present. And who is he? What has he done? And why is he the absolute true leader in this form of leadership lessons? Let me tell you. So Ian's story is anything but ordinary. Before becoming a global leadership facilitator, he spent years working as a safari guide in the African wilderness. Out there, every day demands acute awareness, disciplined teamwork, and right, high performance teams that survive and thrive only by working with absolute clarity of purpose, alignment, trust. And Ian will reveal how these natural systems mirror the demands placed on today's leaders and what we can learn from them about building capability, collaboration, and adaptability. But like I said, it's not just a person talking on stage. It's not just a keynote. In true Red Leaf style, the second part of the session is a very immersive virtual adventure. Each of you will take part in it that will transport you into the heart of the Kruger National Park. You will step into the shoes of a real animal tracking team, analyze multiple scenarios filmed on location, and you'll take decisions in pairs, decisions that will play out on the screen in real time. Through this experience, Ian will guide you in reflecting on the leadership mindset required to be future ready, curious, practical imagination played out, adaptability, and reverence. So prepare to be engaged, challenged, inspired, and most importantly, activated. So the very rare chance to learn leadership, not from theory, but from the wild. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage Ian Schubach. Ian.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Rajiv, and happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, indeed, I am the last speaker, and I certainly have got a very different topic today. No, I'm not German, no. I now live in Sydney, but I was born in South Africa, and I worked as a safari guide in Africa for the best part of 6 years. I thought it would be appropriate for me to start telling a little story about how I ended up becoming a safari guide. You know, our theme today is about being future ready. Well, I certainly didn't feel like I was future ready in my early 20s. I don't know if you felt the same way. That when I finished my education, I was really lost. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my world. And eventually my parents came up to me, I was staying at home, and they turned around to me and say, I think we want you to spread your wings. And we know what that's code for, don't we? Time to get out of the house. We want our house back. And for the first time, I needed to look for a job, and I saw this advert. I'm dating myself now, but I saw this advert in the newspaper, in a classified newspaper, and it said, game rangers wanted, no chances. Now, in South African slang, no chances means don't bother coming here if you're not serious about the job. I didn't really know what safari guides did or game rangers did. But I jumped in my car and I drove the 6 hours down towards the Kruger National Park, and I drove into this place called Thornybush Game Reserve. And I discovered that this was going to be a 2-week-long job interview. There were another 13 young aspirant safari guides that were going to be put through their paces for the next 14 days, and they're going to choose 2 people of the 14 to become junior guides. The moment that that process started, something shifted inside of me. I absolutely loved being in the bush. And within 2 or 3 days, I was desperate for that job. Desperate for the job. So we did a bit of theory tests, but the best part was the practical side of things. Because if you've been on safari in Africa, you'll know that what you do is you either take people on walks through the African bush, or you drive an open-air vehicle and you take them through this magnificent environment. And that was the part that I really loved. And it turns out that the last day of the job interview, we did what we call a rotation. So the person that was evaluating our skills was sitting in the open-air game drive vehicle in the passenger seat. And then each of our aspirant guides had 15 minutes to improve. And just sneaking a little look out of the corner of my eye, I looked at my rivals on the back of the Land Rover, and I could see that they also didn't know what that sound was. But there was one person on that Land Rover that did know what that sound was. His name was John Dixon. He was the senior guide. And to be honest, John had looked completely bored for the 2 weeks that we were out there. But the moment that John heard that sound, he changed. He transformed. He pulled me out of the driver's seat. He jumped behind the wheel, and we head off in the direction of that sound, through the bush. 200 meters or so, he stopped. Dust came over the back of the vehicle like this. He turned to us and went, shh, to us. And then he said, Ingwe call. Now, Ingwe is the local Shangaan name for a leopard. That sound was a leopard. And we sat there just for 90 seconds. It felt like an age. But we sat there for 90 seconds, and then John got out of the Land Rover and walked over to some tracks on the ground. He came back and he said, it's a male, and he's out on patrol. So we sat there. We did nothing else. We just sat there for another 90 seconds or so, and then all of a sudden we heard the sound. This was a herd of impala, an antelope. Now, those impala were alarm calling at the leopard. That obviously gave the leopard's position away. So we jumped in, we were in the vehicle, and we just made our way towards that sound. Got there, nervous impala, couldn't see the leopard. Just waited. Then all of a sudden, squirrel alarm call.